Hey everybody, welcome back to the Working Man's Whiskey. I'm Bobby. Guys, it's Saturday. Things are getting back to normal around here for the most part. Fires are about, last I heard, 70, maybe a little bit over 70% contained. Big thank you to all the first responders who helped tackle this thing. People came from out of state, as far as Montana, New Mexico, I believe. Oregon, several states, guys. So thank you to the men and women from California and from all these other states that came and helped out and going to be giving people their lives back. It's much appreciated. Some homes were lost in the blaze, but main thing is no lives were lost. And the way they went about things these fires, compared to 2 years ago when we didn't have much warning, to no fault of anybody out there, it was just unexpected back then, and this time they had a plan of attack, and they really did well, doing as best they could to protect everybody's lives and all the homes they could. As I said, some homes were lost, but the biggest thing is no lives were lost. So that's big. So thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. And this review's for you. Definitely cheersing you guys on this one. So here we go, guys. Today I want to review a couple bonded whiskeys, guys. I've been wanting to do this for a while now. These are two of my go-to bonded whiskeys in this price range. There are a lot of great bonded whiskeys out there. Some are a little bit higher up price-wise, but these two here, Evan Williams Bottled and Bond and Jim Beam Bottled and Bond, are pretty much my two go-tos in the $15 to $20 range. Evan Williams is usually about $15 around here for the bonded, and Jim Beam, a little more expensive. It's about $20 to $25 a bottle for the bonded version, and I just want to kind of see which one comes out on top. For the price, Evan Williams being a little bit cheaper. We'll see if it holds up to the Jim Beam. Just see how it goes, guys. As you can see, I have pre-poured these whiskeys, kept them in order. So the Jim Beam, Glencairn glass right here, and Evan Williams in this glass right here. As I said, two bonded whiskeys. I'll read you the bottles, but they're pretty much going to tell you the same thing, pretty much about the Bottled and Bond Act and all that. So it says, Evan Williams says, Bottled and Bond status is earned only by meeting strict government standards, originally passed in 1897 to ensure quality and consistency. In accordance with these standards, this bourbon is 100 proof, aged at least 4 years, and produced at a single distillery within a single distilling season. So put that down, and I'll. So pretty much the same thing on Jim Beam. It says Jim Beam Bonded is a pre-prohibition style bourbon with a 100 proof flavor and a hint of oak spiciness, making it the perfect mixer in any classic American cocktail. And the bottom says, the Bottled and Bond Act of 1897 declared a level playing field for bourbon distillers. One distiller, one distilling season, and 4 years of patience. Our bonded bourbon is a masterclass in skill and expertise, the ultimate test of our trade. So, there you go, guys. So, Bottled and Bond Act, of course, was, as it said, created in 1897. E.H. Taylor was a big part of that. And it was to ensure that the whiskey was held to a higher standard, higher quality than it had been in the past. Back then, guys, people were doing some pretty awful things to the bourbons and whiskeys and whatnot. Coloring them with tobacco juice, putting some pretty nasty stuff in there that you wouldn't necessarily want to consume. So one thing, guys, I just realized I don't have water in front of me to cleanse my palate. So if you don't mind, I'm gonna get a bottle real quick. Be right back. Sorry for being unorganized today, guys. Here we go. All right. So, get that ready to go. And let's see. I guess we'll start with the left here, the Jim Beam bonded. And looking at Jim Beam bonded, nice. It's a nice medium amber color. Yeah, I don't know how old it is exactly. It's at least 4 years old. We know that. You know, some are aged. Some they age a little bit longer, depending on the brand. Some are right there at the 4-year mark. And on the let's see, it just doesn't stick to the glass that well, guys. I guess some of the legs are pretty slow, but it's it doesn't look all that thick. So let's give it a nose. And on the nose, guys, I really enjoy this. On the nose, I do get a good bit of that barrel char, that oakiness. But you get a good hit of brown sugar, vanilla. You get definitely a good, pretty deep caramel note to it. It's got like a, I don't know, like a sticky, like caramel chew candy note to it. It smells pretty darn good, guys. Let's give it a sip. And on the palate, you get that good classic Jim Beam note to it. You know, that like roasted peanut note comes out. More of the same flavors you're getting on the nose as well. I'm getting some good oak. I'm getting some good caramel there. Some good vanilla, definitely. And it's a good solid whiskey, guys. Let's take another sip. You get a little bit of corn in there, corn sweetness. One thing I will say is that you do just faintly, not too bad at all, but faintly you do get a little bit of you know, a little bit of that alcohol note coming through. Again, not a bad thing, but it's, I don't know, it tastes a little bit, even though it's at least 4 years old, it tastes a little bit youthful to me. So pretty good stuff though, guys. Jim Beam bonded, you know, with all those notes, the brown sugar, that oak, the vanilla, yeah, just that roasted peanut note that you get in a lot of Jim Beam products, just all good notes to me. As I said, that little bit of that faint, I don't know if it's like a young corn note, but it just comes through a little too boozy there in the back. So let's take a sip. And I do realize it's 100 proof, you know, being a bonded bourbon, but it's not really, it's not the strength of the alcohol that gets, you know, that I'm talking about here. It's more the youthfulness of the alcohol that's kind of coming through there. So let's try out the Evan Williams bottled and bond here, guys. And on the nose, the Evan Williams, I'm getting a lot of the same notes as Jim Beam here. A little bit less oak, a little bit more of the caramel, definitely some vanilla there. I'm getting more kind of like fruity notes coming from, like stone fruit type notes coming from the Evan Williams. They both have a good spice. probably didn't mention that with the, I don't think I mentioned that with the Jim Beam bonded, but they both have a good spice. You know, a lot of the bonded bourbons out there, these included, have a good, you know, like baking spice note. And these, as I said, these are no exception. And it's also got kind of like the, not as much, but along the same lines as the Jim Beam here, also has a little bit of a peanutty note. I'm getting more vanilla out of this one though, more vanilla and more fruit. Still has some caramel notes to it, like the Jim Beam. I'm actually getting a little bit less of the that youthful corn note coming through though. Let's take a sip. Same. Oh, just want to compare color. I think the Evan Williams is actually a little bit darker. To be honest, just a shade darker. But the Evan Williams on the palate, a little creamier, a little bit smoother, guys, to be honest with you. A little bit smoother than the Jim Beam. Take another sip here. I like the mouthfeel better. As I said, it's a little bit creamier. You get those vanilla notes, the caramel. I think a little more toffee comes through with the Evan Williams. You know, that spice. They both have good spice, but Evan Williams to me, Evan Williams Bottled and Bond, that spicy note comes out a little bit more. Oh, they're both really good, guys. I'm going to take another sip of water and then give them a final rating. They both hold their own. They're both great deals for the price and the quality. But let's see which one comes out on top. Back to the Jim Beam. Again, more of the roasted peanut note comes out with Jim Beam. A little bit thinner on the body. But good notes nonetheless. For 20 to 25 bucks, I think after tax it came out to about $22, something like that. It's a good buy. It's a really good buy. I love Jim Beam. You know, Jim Beam's small batch line, you know, with you getting up toward Knob Creek and Baker's and Booker's and all that. Basil Hayden. Really, really good stuff, guys. And this one is right there, you know, getting closer to the Knob Creek. Not quite to the Knob Creek, you know, kind of quality for me, but it's getting there. But one more sip. I look back at my original review of Jim Beam Bonded, and I think I gave it a score in the 90s, guys. I can't remember how long ago it was that I reviewed it, but I remember seeing, you know, the final part of that video and that I gave it a 90 some. I don't know if it was a 93 or what. I'm gonna drop that down a little bit. It's good, but it's not in the 90s for me. I would say Jim Beam Bonded, it's very good stuff, but I'm going to drop it down to an 87. You know, it's a good buy. You know, for the price, you know, right there around 22 bucks out the door. I'll give it an 88. I'll pop it up another point. 88, but yeah, we'll see how the Evan Williams fares here. Now remember, the Evan Williams was about $7 cheaper out the door. I think it was $13.99 before tax. little over $15 out the door. And Jim Beam bonded was, right around $22 out the door. So about $7 difference. So let's check out the Evan Williams, give it a final verdict. Evan Williams never disappoints, guys. I love Jim Beam's small batch line, as I said. I like this one a lot. The bonded, even though it's not part of the small batch line, but I like the bonded a lot. But Evan Williams, from the black label to the bottled and bond to the 1783, the single barrel. I mean, I don't think they make a bad product. They really don't. Even the black label guys that, I already mentioned black label, but some people say, oh, it's okay. It's decent whiskey for the price. But guys, it's like $10. You can't get better than that for $10. So, but the bottled and bond here, as I said, it's got that thick mouthfeel. It's got so much character going on between the spice, that bacon spice, that thick, creamy mouthfeel to it. It does have a little bit of oak, probably not as much as the Jim Beam, but a little bit of oak. It's got the vanilla and the caramel and just all this stuff going on, the stone fruit that I get more in it than the Jim Beam. It's a solid product for $15. For $15, this is the best bourbon in the world. I'm gonna say that right now. For $15, that's the best bourbon in the world. Prove me wrong. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. So, Evan Williams Bottled and Bond. Give it one more sip and give it a score. No, just solid product. Good legs too. Good thick legs. I'm gonna give it a 91 out of 100. 92 out of 100. Just for the price point and the quality of it. If it was the same price as the Jim Beam bonded, I'd probably give it more like a 90. But it still hits that 90 mark. The Jim Beam misses that 90 mark just by a little bit, 87 or 88. I think I said 88. But Evan Williams, for being $15 and the quality, it just, man, cannot beat it. Best bourbon in the world at $15. Yeah, it's going to get a 92 out of 100. So that's it for now, guys. Got several more reviews to get on here. Looking forward to it. It's good to be back. It's good to be, the air's getting back to normal here. And it's going to be a good weekend, guys. And I hope you all have a great weekend as well. And definitely leave comments. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I look forward to talking to y'all as usual, guys. So that's it for now. Till next time, cheers.